To you, my brother man and sister woman, I address these lines. May the spiritual truths I have unveiled to you concerning Satan's plan to destroy us through illicit drugs, tobacco, and alcohol penetrate into your innermost being, so that you will sleep and wake up with a new awareness about the dangers of smoking. While I was growing up, some of my homeboys took illicit drugs. They persistently tried to lure me into it, but I persistently resisted. That is why I am still intact. Sadly, most of my homeboys are no longer intact. Their human bodies are frail and they look older than their age. They are noted for erratic behavior and criminality. They are socially rejected and not regarded in their families. Whenever you see some adults and youths in desolated areas, abandoned and uncompleted buildings and bushes, they are not there to receive the 10 commandments. They went there to smoke weed or snort cocaine and other types of illicit drugs. Society is filled with an entire generation of youths who have succumbed to the supernatural slavery of cannabis, cocaine, opium, narcotic cough syrups, etc. They want to constantly remain in delirium, in wild excitement and temporal madness, and their senses deadened by drugs. They want to listen to crazy lyrics so that they will think no other thing but the lyrics that takes them down and down again to a lower, depraved level. Illicit drugs and crazy lyrics will take our youths even beneath their feet to the underground levels of evil spirits who themselves have long ago lost their wings and therefore shares apartments with insects and rats. Many influential personalities, musicians, politicians, highly placed government officials, and policymakers whom the masses look up to for direction and leadership are into illicit drugs and expensive alcoholic drinks. Outwardly, they might appear to be firmly in control of themselves, but in reality, they are not. They exhibit unpredictable behavior, aggressiveness, combativeness, and mood swings. They are easily persuaded and controlled by evil spirits. Highly placed government officials belonging to the illicit drug category often traumatize the masses with their drug instigated and evil spirit infested policies. Systematic destruction of our youths is impossible without expanding their minds beyond their control. Black magicians truly understand what it means to expand your mind beyond the scope of planet Earth. Black magicians often swallow certain illicit drugs to break the protective walls around their minds so that they can easily become conscious of the spirit world and have dealings with evil spirits. What are some of the basic needs of a human being? Accommodation, nourishment, and gainful employment. We are not the only ones in need of these basic things. Evil spirits too, who are living side by side with human beings, are desperately in need of human accommodation, nourishment, and employment opportunities. I presume you know the difference between inverter and hybrid inverter. If you want to connect a solar panel to an inverter, you must have to buy a charge controller. The charge controller is here, the inverter is there. Everything appears segmented. In contrast, hybrid inverter is a combination of an inverter a charge controller and a grid tie function. Drug addicts all over the world are hybrid inverters for evil spirits because they are a combination of accommodation, nourishment, and gainful employment. Evil spirits want to use illicit drugs to deeply contaminate the temple of God in the innermost being of a drug addict so that they can comfortably cohabit in the same body with the soul of a drug addict. This is the only way they can continuously obtain nourishment and systematically destroy the drug addict with their evil ideas. The air we breathe is filled with tons of evil spirits surrounding drug addicts. The moment an unclean spirit comes upon the soul of a drug addict, it comes like a wolf upon a sheep, craving for nourishment and ready to devour. The unclean spirit darkens the mind of the drug addict and forcefully uses his body as his own property. The drug addict will derive immense pleasure in committing atrocities and don't give a damn about the consequences of his evil actions. These and much more are possible with drug addicts because the temple of God within them and their auras are occupied by filthy evil spirits. This is the kind of job evil spirits are looking for. Sincerely speaking, the problems of drug addiction is impossible to stop. It will continue to remain with us till the dissolution of all things on planet Earth. It is a torture for non-smokers and non-alcohol drinkers to find themselves sitting in the midst of people who are smoking and drinking. It is not easy for them to cope with the offensive and nauseating odor pervading the room. What do you know about the relationship between odor, the sense of smell, and the spirit world? What do you know about the spiritual powers embedded in fragrance? Do you know that evil spirits are strongly attracted to odors emanating from illicit drugs? Now, why do people burn incense? Incenses are burnt as a sacrifice to spiritual entities. When an incense is burnt, the fragrance attracts certain spirits to the place where the incense is burned. When the spirit arrives, it will extract certain energies from the incense. The spirit will nourish itself with the energy it extracted from the incense. However, there is a big difference between incense and illicit drugs. Incense is burnt outwardly, and illicit drugs are inhaled, swallowed, or injected into the human body. You know what that means, don't you? Spirits attracted by incense will extract energy from the incense you are burning outwardly. In contrast, evil spirits attracted by illicit drugs will extract nourishment from the innermost being of the drug addict. Of a truth, I tell you, evil spirits use illicit drugs and alcohol to gain unfettered access into the minds and bodies of drug addicts and do whatever they please from the innermost being of the drug addict. They will persuade or compel the drug addict to do many evil things without bothering about the consequences of their evil actions. Many charismatic pastors, leaders of conditional and selfish worshippers of God, proponents of extreme materialism and attachment to the things of this world, and promulgators of religious heresies are drug addicts. They preach under the influence of illicit drugs. Drug-taking charismatic preachers are easily controlled and manipulated by forces of darkness. The astral and mental bodies of many charismatic pastors are filled with poisonous particles emanating from illicit drugs. Their deeply polluted astral and mental bodies prevents them from having direct dealing with heavenly influences. Illicit drugs cannot be used to experience the divine creator directly. Of a truth I tell you, the crown chakra located at the top of the head is the center of spiritual illumination. It is through the crown chakra we attain God consciousness. The crown chakra of many charismatic preachers have been deeply contaminated by illicit drugs. Many charismatic pastors are under the firm grasp of filthy astral entities who use them to mislead the masses who sit and listen to their heretical sermons. They have turned churches into town halls, different from the early churches we used to know. As for the masses, they have always been stupid, always available to be used and dumped by charismatic preachers. May the spiritual truths I have unveiled to you concerning the dangers of smoking recondition your bodily senses and mind and help you garner abundant amount of willpower and dogged mental force, which will enable you overcome your smoking habit as each day goes by. As you wake up each day, you will no longer feel good about taking illicit drugs, and gradually you will abandon the destructive habit, and never again will you have any desire to take illicit drugs.